Hi, I'm Mandi Pryor and welcome to Spotlight on Pittsburgh. Spotlight on Pittsburgh is a program about Pittsburgh's most fascinating people and what they do to make our city an amazing place to live and work. When we come back, I'll introduce you to Jackie von Thun of Realty One Gold Standard. Jackie is one of the South Hill's most popular real estate agents. You'll learn more about what the current real estate market is in fall 2021 and what we can expect in 2022. Hi, Mandi Pryor here. We are back with Jackie von Thun. Jackie, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me today.
You are so welcome. So I guess first and foremost, tell us a little bit about yourself. What do you do? What are your likes and dislikes? All of that good stuff.
Well, I'm from South Fayette Township, but I'm born and raised from Pittsburgh. Grew up in Cecil. I went to college at Robert Morris University and then ended back in South Fayette with my son, who is in 5th grade. So he keeps me busy in addition to real estate, also volunteering for the South Fayette Township Library and founding member of Posh Women. It's a women's networking group in the South Hills.
Wow, so you are busy.
Yes.
So in all of your time doing all of these different things, you know, obviously you're a real estate agent. So, you know, a lot of people have bought and sold homes. The market's been a little crazy. So can you tell us a little bit about what you think's been going on in the market and what we can kind of see coming up in terms of buying and selling?
Yeah, I mean, it's been crazy, just like this whole year. Or even more than this whole year has been crazy. But what we're seeing still is lack of inventory. So there's a couple factors because of that. We had low inventory, and then when COVID happened, our industry was shut down for a couple of months. We couldn't do anything. Legally, I could not show houses, list houses, or anything. So once we did open back up, a lot of people decided to not move. They decided to stay in their homes. The interest rates dropped. So we started with buyers that couldn't find a place. And then when interest rates dropped, a lot of people refinanced, so they stayed in their home. So with those factors, and then again with the low interest rates, you had more buyers because they could now afford a house because the rates were lower. So with all those factors coming into play, I just think it's so interesting the fact that we're in Pittsburgh, because Pittsburgh notoriously is very conservative. I've been a real estate agent since 2004. So I've seen the lows, the highs, and this is just something that's completely different that's happening right now.
You're saying it's usually like
stable,
going stable,
yeah.
And then
I mean, we're not like in Washington D.C. or you know, out in Arizona where it's up and down. So yeah, it's been pretty interesting.
Yeah, I lived in South Florida during the right before the drop in housing. So it was crazy. I mean, everything was going so well, but it is more volatile down there. So
right.
So how did you manage as an agent, you know, with this influx of, I guess not an influx of homes to sell on the market?
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest thing is the public. They're like, oh, you must be doing wonderful. Agents must be having such a great time because they're selling so quick when they get a listing, not thinking about the buyers you're working with that are heartbroken because we've been putting in offers and we're losing offers. Yeah. So I think just seeing that difference, you know, from my perspective than just the general public's perspective. And then in addition to that, when you do list your home, you know, you're not competing with much, but that doesn't state that you still have to have your home in good condition too.
What? You have to have your house in nice condition?
Well, that people, you know, they see the news and they're like, oh, well, I could just list my home and I'm going to get top dollar, and don't realize, well, you still need to clean your house and maintain your home. So, so
I'm in the middle of actually going to sell. So I know I was, I think a few weeks ago, I had a grout cleaner that I rented from Home Depot. It was like 6 hours of my life later. Whoever put white floor tiles and white grout into a kitchen don't ever do that again.
Yeah.
But yeah, you still have to kind of prepare the house,
Right.
make sure it looks nice, fix up as much as you can. And so, I mean, are the houses that are coming onto the market, are they, the fixer-uppers? Are they the top tier? Are they mid-size?
It's everything. I mean, what we're seeing is still the slowness.
Yeah.
So it's, when something hits, it's selling very, very quickly.
Sure.
So I will say in August, there was a little bit of a slowdown, but that's typical with kids going back to school, kids going back to college, last minute vacations. But, it's been, I mean, I'm fortunate for my business that I've had a decent year last year. Even though we were closed, I still had a pretty good year. So that's a tribute to, working for Realty One Group that's here in Peters Township, and also the fact that I have great clients.
And so what other tips can you give to like home buyers or home sellers that can help them in purchasing or help them in selling?
I think the biggest thing is, working with buyers, getting the home inspection. So many inspectors on that report, people are not changing their air filters. And I know it seems so simple.
Like, wait.
But yeah, I know. But that's a lot of people. I don't think they know to do, just those small things. Like if you're a homeowner, you have to maintain your home. And, those, cleaning your gutters and making sure, if you have water in your basement, let's take care of that now and not take care of it later. So for a seller, it's, maintenance and the air filter. I mean, that's huge just to have that freshness.
And it's something that
you don't think about. A lot of people, I guess, they don't think about or were never taught. And then from the buyer standpoint, it's getting that pre-approval first. We are professionals, we run a business, so, we're just not out showing pretty houses. We want someone who's qualified and that's fair to you.
You don't want to waste your time,
Right.
especially when there's so many people lined up.
Yes.
You're like, okay, let's eliminate somebody here.
Exactly.
So that makes sense.
Yeah.
And what do you love about the real estate industry? Like, what made you get into real estate?
Well, everything is different with this industry. So every transaction is different. You meet so many different people. You work with so many different townships and municipalities, and everyone's rules are different on what they require. And when I had started, out of Robert Morris, I went to school for marketing, and I did inside sales. I didn't see people. And I mean,
That is different.
it was hard just to be stuck in an office. So my mom, she's a realtor. So I got my license to help her with the marketing end of things. And then from there, I just, I've been in the industry. I've worked for Heartland Homes. I've worked for Scarmazzi Homes. They're a builder that builds patio homes, and then back into residential real estate.
And how do you like working for Realty One?
I love it. Yeah, I was the 4th or 5th agent to make the move.
Well, we'll give Dion a shout out. She's
Yes.
doing a great job out there. We've seen Realty One take
Yeah.
off in Pittsburgh.
So it's different to me because they're the company's from California. So it's California based, and as you know, California is always cutting edge with different things. But the fact, working with someone like Dion and Mike, it's just not pressure, because we have enough pressure in this industry working with clients. We don't need that from the top level as well. So yeah, so it's been refreshing too.
Absolutely.
And to be part of that growth, I mean, it's amazing.
It's exciting.
Yes.
And so, speaking of growth, are there any townships, boroughs that you would say are, kind of leading the way in what's available for home buyers? Or
Well, for a while in Lawrenceville, in downtown Pittsburgh, because of Children's Hospital, University of Pittsburgh, and then that's kind of spilled over a little bit. But, when people are searching, they're looking at school districts. And, as an agent, we can't steer, but people search, and that's what they're looking for a lot of times, are those school districts. But
And the good thing is Pittsburgh has tons of really good school districts. So
Right.
that's nice. But there are pockets which, then of course we have the good ones. So then you kind of want to
Right.
steer clear of the ones that are mediocre.
And now because of COVID, before it was location where, to be closer to work, and now most people are working from home. So that's been kind of, that's changed a little bit too, with folks. So
With everything.
Yeah.
And so, say somebody wants to sell their house, they're looking for an agent. What do you suggest they look for in an agent?
Someone who can really help them and direct them, and, have the patience to go through the process with them, because it's not every day you buy a home.
Yeah.
And it is one of the largest, if not the largest purchase that you're going to make in your lifetime. So, and there's a lot of agents out there. So it's really connecting with someone too, I believe, because you spend a lot of time with your agent. And it's funny because I have clients like after they sell, I'm like, oh, I feel like we broke up or something because you're
like,
texting.
our relationship is over.
Yes, I know. And you feel that way because you're constantly texting and emailing, and they're stressed and you're trying to juggle, and this is their biggest financial purchase. So yeah.
That can be heartbreaking.
Yeah.
So it's good you're making those relationships, and obviously I've known you for a while, so I know you're an outgoing person, and we see you everywhere. I mean, your social media is like everywhere, so you're doing a great job out there.
Thank you.
And then in terms of, I just asked you about buyers, right?
Yeah.
So sellers, one tip outside of, I guess, air filters.
That seems crazy, but
yeah, I mean,
I'm being truthful.
I'm guilty. Yeah. I'm so guilty.
See, now you're
right
gonna
now.
go change your air filter.
I got to change my air filter.
Yes.
Run to Home Depot.
Yeah.
And then for sellers, in terms of letting people know that they're selling their home, I mean, do you just leave it over to the agent, or?
Yeah, let your agent guide you. That's their job. That's their profession. They're in a million homes. A lot of people were in an HGTV world, so they see what happens there, and that's not real life. I mean, so listen to your agent, what they suggest. It's still, you want neutral, less is best. If your agent tells you to declutter. You're moving anyways. Take the stuff down, because you need someone to come in there to see themselves in your home. They want to fall in love with the home, not your stuff, and getting distracted by your stuff. So, but yeah, listen to your agent. And I mean, HGTV is great. I watch it. What's the one, the beach? The one with the beach houses or whatever.
Beachfront bargain.
Yes, I love that.
But I
do
too.
I mean, at the end of the day, it's really not. I mean, there's a
little
lot
preset.
more. Yes, there's a lot more that goes on behind the scenes.
This is so glamorous here.
Yes,
obviously.
exactly. Yes.
This just doesn't happen at a regular day.
Yes.
So. All right. Well, I'm going to bring you back out with
Okay.
Eric, who's going to join me in a moment, and we'll ask you. I have a great question to ask you guys whenever you come back.
Okay.
So.
Perfect. Thank you.
To find out more about Jackie, follow her handle, Jackie von Thun Realty One Group on Facebook. Up next, you may have heard of him before on his wildly popular podcast, The Eric McKenna Project, but did you know that Eric is one of the leading real estate agents in the industry as well? The real estate industry. Find out more about Eric when we return. All right, we are back, and I am with Eric McKenna, who is trouble. I'm just going to start it out that way. Eric McKenna is with Compass Real Estate, new to the company, correct?
Mm-hmm.
And he also has a podcast that I've actually been on a couple of times. So we'll see how this goes. I'm putting him in the hot seat this time. He's an agent. He doesn't get to talk about it enough on his podcast. So let's go. Let's see what you have to talk about in your real estate agent work. So what can you tell me about yourself and what you're doing?
Okay, but lifelong Pittsburgh resident, native of Coriopolis, and my wife and I returned back to that area. So very familiar with the airport area, Pittsburgh, north and south a bit. That's mainly the areas I cover.
Sure.
Been a realtor for 8 years now. Before that, I was in the guitar business for 15 years. So it's quite a difference.
That is a transition.
But I love it though. It just fits my personality. Just love the relationships.
Do you
and
play
just love
guitar
people.
at the open houses?
I can.
Okay, good.
I don't, but I can.
Upon request.
Yeah, upon request, of course. But just really enjoy the relationships, which is kind of the foundation of my entire career. Has always been about enjoying people, and realty has enabled me to do that, or continue to do that, for sure.
And so you've recently switched to Compass.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me a little bit about that, with
Sure.
the transition and what
Sure.
what you found interesting about the company.
Sure, it's a very interesting company. Not that long of a tenured company. It's also from California. Very much a tech company. Provides us a lot of tools in regards to how we market to the public now, which of course in this tech-centric world is very important, even for an older person like myself. But I found it's been very receptive. The public has been receptive to Compass, their marketing, their branding, but most importantly, the way they do business. So I'm glad to be a part of that team, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, everything's so technology driven. If you're not selling a house online, are you even selling a house? I mean, I guess people go to Zillow or go to your site. So, has the technology, what have you seen that's worked the best for the agent or the home buyers and sellers that you've worked with?
I think Zillow, Realtor.com, all the third-party websites, which I think the public is most familiar with, are great. I think it's certainly helped the consumer become more educated, unlike some of the television shows that Jackie had mentioned prior. But I will say, without a doubt, that it starts with the agent getting all the data into the system and through their local multi-list, which those companies, the other third-party companies, are reaching grab from. So as long as the agent's being accurate and representing their client right and getting all the data in there, the public will be properly informed, I believe.
And I'd ask Jackie the same question. What are your biggest tips to home sellers or home buyers on the market? And we could start with sellers if you want.
Sure.
What do you think is the most important if they're walking into selling a home?
I think for buyers and sellers, it's the same thing initially, and that is you definitely partner with an agent you can relate to. Look at credentials, interview, talk, but find someone you can connect with. Connection's a big thing. On the selling end of it, an orderly home, a clean home, things that you can do as a seller to help your realtor in the process. And then on the realtor end, pricing the house appropriately. We're in a crazy market, but a great market for sellers. At the same time, overpricing a house can be detrimental to the process and detrimental to your move and ultimately your next plans. So we all want to make as much money as we can. That's the nature of the business. Is we represent sellers. We want to maximize their value for their home.
Well, and that does make sense. It's like when you're putting out a price that you think a house should be listed at as an agent, it's not like there's any possible reason you'd want to list it lower. You're not going to benefit from that either. So
that's our job, is to maximize the dollar for the seller, without a doubt. I think that there is that consensus out there that the market is so unstable that sellers are getting so much money, and within reason, the sellers are getting top dollar for their homes. But at the same time, an overpriced property is still a problem today in 2021, as it was in a softer market in 2015. So it's appropriate to get very good and solid advice from your realtor.
And what about you? What areas have you seen kind of becoming more populated? What have you seen kind of tapering off in terms of buying and selling?
Well, I don't see any areas tapering off because we're just so short on inventory, although I'm hoping it's changing slightly. Definitely downtown Pittsburgh, the Lawrenceville area, of course, everybody points to that area without a doubt.
Yes.
But out in the West, it always obviously is driven by what buyers are looking for. And that can be, indeed, school districts at the top priority, no question. But I think Moon Township, Robinson Township, very strong areas that I know I work with that are certainly in demand. And obviously down here in the South Hills, I mean, it goes without saying, top-notch school districts and top-notch neighborhoods are certainly desirable right now.
And so what made you get into the real estate industry?
I needed to find out what my next thing was going to be. After 15 years in music, I could see it ebbing, and I was looking for something different. A little bit too young to retire, and realty just fit me. All the managers I ever had in corporate America said I was unmanageable, so I wasn't going to go work for a corporation. I knew that I had to find something that just fit my lifestyle and my personality, and real estate just worked. I love people, and I love the relationships, and I think that's the essence of who I am.
Well, I do think you're a people person, and having been on your podcast before, you really relate to all different personality types.
I try.
And it's
Spice
nice
of life, right?
To set your own schedule too a little bit.
Yes, it's the only way to live.
Yeah, agreed. And so, where do you see the industry, the real estate market, in 2 years, 5 years? Do you think there'll be a big change? Do you think people will start moving around more?
Yeah, I think it's dangerous ever to try to really predict, especially in something as important as a decision, a big decision as selling the home. However, I am hopeful that the market levels a little bit and gives our buyers more of a fighting chance. Right now, it's exceptionally competitive. The market is what it is, and we deal appropriately, but I would like to see it somewhat level out a little bit, and we've got a ways to get there. So it'll still remain, I believe, a seller's market for at least the immediate near future.
And do you think that the commercial real estate industry has anything to do with the residential? You know, keeping these people at home, working from home, or I should say COVID related.
Right.
Do you think that has anything to do with moving them into new homes? Is it because everybody's just home, so why move?
It could be. COVID changed the landscape in so many ways. I mean, I don't work particularly in commercial real estate. It's a fascinating arm of the business for me. I just don't work in it much, and it probably is going to be a difficult road to go for commercial for a while corporations want their employees to be home. But certainly, as your prior discussion with Jackie was, the inventory got tight because people were working at home and reinvesting in their home and refinancing and so forth. So I don't know. I'm pretty optimistic, very optimistic about the business itself, and I'm hoping that our buyers are going to see more inventory coming soon. I think just the general nature of markets, they're up and they're down, and they have that fluctuation. So I'm optimistic.
That's good.
Yeah,
That's
generally.
Good. Well, I hope so.
Okay.
So is there anything else that I haven't touched base on that you'd like to share or talk about today regarding what you do or
No, I just, without a doubt, just enjoy the people. I enjoy the business. Best advice I can ever give anyone, especially a home buyer, is get the pre-approval, but partner up with an agent. Have a little patience. Learn to take some deep breaths as a buyer. It's really needed in this market. And don't beat yourself up too much. It's a process, and I do see a lot of buyer frustration at times, and I feel terribly about that because part of my job is to, I believe, is to help guide or be an advocate through the process of home buying and to try to alleviate some of that stress, that anxiety. And it's just so competitive that competitive circumstances can bring anxiety out. And as much as we are trying to alleviate that for our buyers, the best thing is to look at it as a process, trust in your realtor, which means you need to find somebody that you connect with and you like. But trust in the process, take a few deep breaths, and you'll be all right.
Great. Well, that's about all I have as far as what we're covering in real estate terms. We're going to bring Jackie out here in a minute for the question that I've been saving for both of you. I can't tell you what it is.
Shall I be afraid?
We'll see.
Okay.
We'll see. It's always an interesting segment at the end of the show when I bring both people out. So anyway,
Fair enough.
Eric,
I'm game.
thank you for coming on. We'll have you back after the commercial break.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Eric. And to learn more about Eric, go to theericmckenna.com. And when we come back from break, Jackie will join Eric back in the spotlight. See you after this commercial break.
Wake up!
All right, Mandi Pryor, I am back with Eric and Jackie, and I have fun questions now. Now, I'm leaving my house, and I would say this is a unique characteristic, is that I have an in-house vacuum. And I don't know how to live without that now. Like, it's not carrying it around. It's like a...
Oh, it's like the...
You just put the, like, what's it called?
The hose.
The hose, thank you. You put the hose in everywhere in the house, and it's done. It's
the
great.
central vacuum system.
Yes, central vacuum.
That's the fancy name.
It is. My
is a fancy
central vacuum system. So anyway, so that's a unique characteristic. I want to ask you guys, what is the strangest thing that you have ever seen in a house that you went, oh my goodness? And are you allowed to share that with me? Because that's even better, that I don't even know.
Yeah, I'll go. The first thing that comes to mind, I was showing a buyer a house in Houston, Pennsylvania. The walls had velvet wallpaper.
Wow.
Yeah. So when I saw that, I had to touch it. I'm sitting there like,
You have to touch
yeah,
it.
I was petting the wall. So that was something that was very unique.
It wasn't like red or crimson, was it?
No, it was like purple and gold and kind of a New Orleans feel to it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, very interesting.
That sounds very interesting. What about you, Eric?
Okay, I showed a home that ultimately my buyer bought, and it had a hidden staircase, which led to a hidden room.
Oh.
Completely invisible. You would never have noticed it unless we
Did
were
you pull a
told it was
book?
there.
Wait, where was this house?
Robinson Township.
Okay, because I had one in North Strabane that had a hidden room.
Yeah, it was even different than what they call a panic room or something. But
Yeah.
ultimately, there was a bookshelf that didn't push. You slid the bookshelf over, and there was the stairs. It was
That's cool.
a little interesting,
That is
a
interesting.
little odd. They may have filmed some movies in there. I don't know. Different,
My goodness.
a little different.
Well,
Different strokes for different folks, right?
yeah, yeah. I mean,
Not my cup of tea, but hey.
well, that's definitely something strange. Now, what if you combine things like you had the velvet walls in the secret room? Like that would be just way over the top.
Yeah.
So,
There was an old barber's chair in a basement once that was pretty horrifying.
well, so I used to go to an ice cream store named Furman's. It was in Aspinwall as a kid, and they had their little ice cream bar stools in blue. And I was a 3-year-old. I was a little pushy.
No.
And
Don't say.
And I would walk in,
Nothing's
and
changed.
the little old guys I'd be like, no, that's my seat, and it had a big piece of duct tape in blue, like over the top of it, because it was split. You know, those
Right.
old seats.
Yeah.
Yes.
And when the place closed down, they actually gave me the seat.
Aw.
So,
Oh,
because
yeah.
I was a pushy 3-year-old guy.
That's
You
so
need to get out of
sweet.
my seat, and these poor little old guys.
Aw.
It was fun. So anyway, great ice cream too.
Yeah, I mean, we definitely see a lot of different things in
Things.
homes. Yeah, for sure.
I don't have it anymore, so.
Yeah.
But I wanted to thank you, Eric, and thank you,
Sure.
Jackie, for coming on today and sharing a little bit about the industry as well as some fun things that you found behind the scenes. And hopefully, we will have you guys on here again soon. So, thanks both of you for joining me.
Thank you very
you.
much. Yeah,
Thank you.
absolutely.
Thanks.
See ya.
Thank you to Jackie and Eric for joining us on Spotlight on Pittsburgh, and thank you all once again for watching. Please follow us on Please follow Spotlight on Pittsburgh on Facebook and Instagram under the handle Spotlight on Pittsburgh, and join us again next time when we shine the spotlight onto new